we're at the start of the 5th FIPS World Masters Fly Fishing Championships that is held in Dullstroom, Mpumalanga. This event is hosted by SAFA, the South African Fly Fishing Association. This year sees 7 nations enrolled in the event. 32 anglers will make up 8 teams and they will battle it out for the gold over the next 2 days. The participation venues will be divided into 4 sectors, which consist of 3 lakes and 1 river section. The anglers will be divided into 4 groups. Each group will get to fish 3-hour sessions in each sector. The 3 lakes to be utilized is the Loch Lake, the Nooitgedag Lake and the Dullstroom Town Dam. The lake events will only be fished off little boats. The Spekboom River, running through Rivendell, is the 4th sector and is divided into 8 different beats. The South African Masters consist of 2 teams, the men's and the ladies' team. These anglers will face off against fierce competition, especially from a strong US and Italian outfit.
Afternoon, my name is Patrick O'Brien. I'm the president of SAFA, the South African Fly Fishing Association. Over the next couple of days we're going to be part of the World Angling Games. Here at Rivendell we are going to be hosting the fly fishing part of the World Angling Games. We are certainly hoping to have a really good impression on our international guests and our international judges, because we would really like to have another competition again soon. So far we're running very nicely, not too many hitches, and it's really been great so far.
Day 1, and we kick this tournament off at the Loch Lake. With a final checking of gear, the teams are now briefed by the allocated sector judge. The judges of each sector needs to make sure that all the rules are abided to. With the sounding of the horn, the teams enter the water and the competition is on its way.
Good morning to all out there. My name's Jason Bruin. I'm up from the Limpopo. I'm one of the sector judges up here at the Lochs, just outside of Belfast. 22 hectare reservoir. Species available for the competitors is obviously the rainbow trout, the brown trout, as well as there is some tilapia species and some bass as well. Weather conditions, obviously, as you can see, overcast, pretty windless. Competitors have started picking up fish. As it progresses in the session, it's going to become more difficult, and then obviously within the competition. So by the end of the competition or the last session, they are really going to be separating the boys from the men. But on the whole at the moment, wonderful venue, and the international teams, brilliant.
In the lake events, the anglers are paired up with an opposing angler from a different country. The anglers fish together in a boat and they need to marshal each other. When a fish is caught, the opposing competitor needs to measure the fish and document it. The catcher then signs the form to acknowledge that the measurement documented is indeed correct. The anglers have a 90-degree arc in which they can cast between the front and the back of the boat. Although there is no wind, the anglers always fish with the wind from behind. In boat number 1, we see Bert Grobelaar from South Africa paired up with Mike Sexton from the US. With Mike catching a beautiful trout, it puts the US in a favorable position. With trout being the target species, the conservation of this fish is extremely crucial. The organizers prohibited the use of barbed hooks, seeing that trout cannot withstand any hardship. The anglers can only use barbless hooks, and once a fish is caught, it needs to be put back in the water as soon as the measurement is completed. Anglers are allowed to fish with up to 3 flies on their leader. Each fly needs to be minimum of 15 centimeters apart. The fish can only be landed by making use of a net. The format of the point system works as follows. The measurement per millimeter and the amount of fish caught is tallied per session. All fish are measured in a gutter, documented, signed off, and then released to fight another day. On a social angling level, there was a prevalent biological need for increased conservation and more restrictive angling regulations in the 1960 to the 1980 era. Anglers' sentiment began shifting in the late 80s and early 90s to higher levels of voluntary catch and release.
We've just had the horn sounded for the end of session 1 here at the Lochs, and we're going to hope to get some interviews on the session from some of the anglers.
It was awesome. I was very nervous this morning, but I drew a good boat partner. And once we got going and you had your first 1 or 2 takes, you started relaxing, and then it started becoming fun.
The first session here at the loch did okay. Maybe went to the wrong spot, but I got 3 fish, broke one off. And we had no wind for a long time, and that made it extremely difficult. And then the wind came up and it helped a lot. And yeah, I think I did okay, but not so great.
Between rotations, the team took a break for lunch, and it was served the traditional South African way.
Been visiting, well, this is the second venue I've been visiting during this championship. I was on the town dam in Dalstrom this morning, watched the guys fishing there. They had a hard time, but they got some fish anyway. The venue really is magnificent, just the nature here in the middle of nowhere, but still beautiful accommodations. You're being taken care of like kings, so I think there's nobody having any complaints whatsoever. I'm sure the next 2 days are going to be exactly the same, and many of the competitors that are here are certainly looking forward to the visit to the Kruger Park on the free day.
Hi, I'm Lyle Smith, one of the sector judges for Sector 4, which is Rivendell Trout Estate, based up in just outside Leidenburg in Mpumalanga. Right here we're fishing the Spekboom River for trout. Most of the trout in this area are stocked, but there is wild trout that do breed in the area. The guys are using different techniques. They're using dry flies, nymphing and downstreaming. And we've had a good session this morning. We're just about to start the second session, and hopefully we can have the same results as the first session.
Over halfway through the session 2 on the river here at Rivendell, and it's been pretty tough. The guys are really bleeding, battling for fish. The conditions have been unbelievably hot, so hopefully in the next hour it's starting to cool down a little bit. They've still got over an hour to go, and hopefully they'll get some fish when there's a little bit of cooler weather, perhaps a hatch. Things might get a little bit easier. The Italian on this beat here has got 8 fish, and he's sitting at the top number at this stage. But pretty tough going at the moment.
End of day 1, and it's off to the lodge where the anglers shared their stories around a braai.
It's day 2 of the FISHINGChampionship World Masters Fly Fishing Champs. We're back here on the river sector at Rivendell, Sector 4, where conditions are a little bit different to Tuesday. We've had a lot of rain. The river has come up, although it has flashed and dropped slightly now. It's going to be quite an interesting morning for the anglers. They're busy gearing up and waiting for their beat draws, and we're looking forward to some quite interesting and exciting fishing here on the river.
I'm Calvin Kalas, the International Supervisor for the 5th Annual FIPS World Masters, and my role as an International Supervisor is to make sure to stay with the host country, and that is for all FIPS competitions, the International Supervisors on the river. The main role is that we don't plan on anybody to cheat or unfair practice, but it's to basically enforce the rules and make sure that the host country's controllers aren't giving any type of advantage or flies or discussions to the host country competitor. So that's kind of where the process makes sense. International supervisors usually only stay on the rivers, the moving waters. We're usually not on the lakes, although there'll be a roaming international supervisor or FIPS official on the lakes to kind of make sure that the same thing is going on. But on the lakes you have 2 people in a boat, so there's really nothing could be said or infracted that the other country may not hear or oversee.
The river's been a bit up. We had a storm yesterday in the catchment area, which pushed the river up a little bit. It has clouded up a bit, but not always a bad thing. Sometimes it turns the rocks a bit, loosens some of the insect life that's under the rocks. Also brings in new, fresh, oxygenated water, which helps a lot for the fishing. And with the guys having a day off yesterday, it wouldn't away. There's not too much pressure on the fish, so hopefully they can have a good start this morning. A lot of the guys are using attractive patterns to try and catch the stocked fish, and then moving on to more natural patterns later on in their session. We're expecting possibly with the rain in the catchment area, possibly the water murking up a little bit in the afternoon, but still very, very fishable. And I think the guys will have a good day.
Jose Garcia from Spain caught 3 beautiful trout in a short time, putting him in a very good position.
Well, I was fortunate enough to draw beat number 3, which is pretty spectacular, and there was lots of fish. I went through it 3 different times, and I was a bit nervous because there was a sighting of a lion in the area, and so I was fishing fast trying to get my fish before a lion showed up.
Morning, I'm Jeffert Minnaar. I'm the sector judge at Nooit Gedacht Dam, that's sector 3. The lake has been fishing really well. On Tuesday, the first day, we had approximately about 60 fish come out for the day. It was really good fishing. The weather's totally changed today, overcast and a bit more windy. Fishing is a bit slower, but still going good. The mountain is approximately about 22 hectares big. It's situated in the Steenkammersberg mountain range, and the fishing has been really good. It's been stocked by the local hatchery just upstream from the lake, and it's been fishing really, really good. I think the guys are enjoying themselves. Hard work, it's not easy, you need to find the fish, but everybody seems to be enjoying themselves.
The Nooit Gedacht hatchery is a commercial trout producing facility situated on the Spekboom River. The hatchery has been operating for more than 50 years and still supplies some of the world's best quality trout to fishing venues. Prior to the championship, the 3 lakes and river section was stocked with trout to make sure that this event would provide a fair competition for all anglers.
Actually, I'm quite pleased with how it ended up. I ended up with 5 fish, which is great. So I had a double hook up at one point and managed to land them both, which was pretty cool. It was pretty good in the first half of the session. It got quite tough. The muddy water came through after that, and you could see the colour working its way down the lake, and so the fishing became tougher and tougher.
Yeah, it was tough. Thought I was chasing the whole time. Thought I was 1 or 2 fish behind the guys who were catching, so we needed to find some fish. Luckily, we got down to the bottom of the lake, closer to the dam wall. Managed to get a couple of fish, dropped a lot of fish, so we knew there were a lot of fish around there, so we took a gamble and stuck there. During the session, the dirty water came over the top, so it did affect the way the guys were fishing. Had to maybe go bigger and darker flies. But yeah, so we happened to stay in the cleaner water at the bottom. I think maybe that was the reason why we got a lot of fish there.
As day 2 came to an end, the anglers went to prize giving to see who will be crowned 2019 fly fishing champions.
I should like to address an activity that I took part in together with my dear wife Anneke and Patrick and his wife and Peter Sinclair. We actually went to the township here just on the side where you see when you go out of the resort, where we live in big luxury. and they are less fortunate than us. And you should all know that some of the proceeds of your participation here has gone to special projects in that township. There is a creche where they have 50 children between 2 and 5 years old. They gave a generous donation in food, coupons that the manager can go and get in the local store, can get some food for these children and to help them out a bit. On the other side, we gave some donation in material, pots and pans, very simple, but they really appreciated to the learning center the basic education of the children in that township.
I was actually hoping that Dean would be here because he needs to change the name of his dam. I'm afraid Noitgedacht was a serious issue this week. The funniest one I think came out of Karen. Where's Karen from Australia? Yeah. What was it you called it? Nudidoct? Oh, was that Peter? Sorry, okay. Nudidoct? Yeah. And as for the Team USA, they just gave up on it. They gave up on it days ago. They just said, it's that piece of water above Rivendell. They just gave up.
In third place from Ireland, Mr. Michael Toohey.
Michael Twowick from Ireland took the individual third place with a placing point of 12. Spain's Javier Alvarez, who caught the longest fish of 720 millimeters in this tournament, came in second with 24 fish caught, earning him a placement point of 6. A proud moment for South Africa as Richard Gourlay took the gold, becoming 2019 individual fly fishing world champion. Richard won all 4 sectors, giving him the maximum placing point of 4. Well done, Richard.
In third place is Team Italy.
South Africa just barely missed the third spot, and the bronze medal went to Italy with a placing point of 57. The team from US took silver with a staggering 102 fish caught in 2 days. It secured their well-deserved second place with a placing point of 55.
And in first place, gold medal winners of the 2019 South African fly fishing competition is Team España.
Spain proved to be strong in all 4 sectors and took the gold, becoming 2019 world champions with a placing point of 53.
I now officially close this fifth FISHING World Masters Fly Fishing Championship 2019 closed, and enjoy the food. Thank you.
Well done to all participants, from the anglers to the management, for making this phenomenal event one to remember.